Good afternoon. The Supreme Court en banc, during its session on January 28, 2025, acted on this case. Aquilino Pimentel III, Bayan Muna Chairperson Nery Colmenares, and former Bayan Muna Representatives Carlo Zarate and Ferdinand Gaite versus the Honorable Lucas L. Bersamin, the Honorable Benjamin E. Jokno, the Senate of the Philippines, and the House of Representatives. Petitioners challenged the validity of Republic Act No. 11954 or the Maharlika Investment Fund Act of 2023 and requested a temporary restraining order and/or writ of preliminary injunction. The Supreme Court impleaded the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Land Bank of the Philippines, and Development Bank of the Philippines as respondents in this case. The Supreme Court directed them to file the respective comments within a non-extendable period of 10 days from notice. The Supreme Court also set the oral arguments for this case on April 22, 2025, Tuesday, 2:00 p.m. at the en banc Session Hall, Supreme Court Baguio Compound, Baguio City. The preliminary conference will be on February 26, 2025, 2 p.m. at the en banc Session Hall, Supreme Court Main Building, Manila. Next, the Supreme Court en banc during its session today, February 18, 2025, acted on the following matters. In the case of Victor D. Rodriguez et al. Versus House of Representatives, Senate of the Philippines, and Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. Victor D. Rodriguez and several others are challenging the constitutionality of Republic Act No. 12116 or the General Appropriations Act of Fiscal Year 2025 or the GAA. Petitioners argue that the GAA is unconstitutional for failing to allocate mandatory funding for PhilHealth, unlawfully increasing appropriations beyond the President's recommendations, and allocating the highest budget to infrastructure over education. They add that the GAA is unconstitutional since the bicameral committee report on the General Appropriations Bill contained blank items. The Supreme Court set the oral arguments for this case on April 1, 2025, Tuesday, 2:00 p.m. at the en banc Session Hall, Supreme Court Baguio Compound, Baguio City. The preliminary conference will be on February 28, 2025, 1:00 p.m. at the en banc Session Hall, Supreme Court Main Building, Manila. Next, in the case of Catalino Aldea Generillo Jr. versus Senate of the Philippines. Generillo Jr. filed a petition for mandamus asking the Supreme Court to direct the members of the Senate to immediately constitute themselves as an impeachment court to try the impeachment charges against Vice President Sara Duterte. The Supreme Court required the Senate to comment on the petition within a non-extendable period of 10 days from receipt of notice. In the case of members of the Right to Know, Right Now Coalition et al. Versus Commission on Elections and the joint venture of Meru Systems Company Limited, Integrated Computer Systems, St. Timothy Construction Corporation, and Centerpoint Solutions Technologies. Members of the Right to Know Right Now Coalition and several others filed a petition for certiorari against the COMELEC for its failure to act on their Freedom of Information request regarding the COMELEC contract for the lease of a full automation system with the Meru joint venture. Petitioners are also asking the Supreme Court to compel the Meru joint venture to disclose the said information. The Supreme Court required the COMELEC and the Meru joint venture to comment on the petition within a non-extendable period of 10 days from receipt of notice. In an administrative case, the Supreme Court dismissed Gerald Eric F. Sanchez, Clerk 3 of the Regional Trial Court of Cabuyao City, Laguna, for gross misconduct after he solicited 100,000 pesos from a litigant's mother in exchange for helping them find a lawyer. The Code of Conduct for Court Personnel prohibits court personnel from recommending private lawyers to litigants or anyone dealing with the judiciary. In another administrative case, the Supreme Court disbarred attorney Demosthenes S. Texon for gross misconduct and misappropriating his client's funds in violation of the Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability. Attorney Texan had received from his client 134 million pesos in just compensation for an expropriation case, but only remitted 53 million pesos, keeping the rest as his attorney's fees and for the alleged senatorial campaign of former Justice Secretary Laila de Lima. A copy of the available pleadings may be downloaded from the public pleadings section of the Supreme Court website. Thank you.
Sa mga nakaraang araw, marami ang humihingi ng reaksyon, komento, o damdamin. Damdamin ko sa issue ng impeachment na naihain laban sa akin. Sa kabila ng aking mga naging pahayag ukol sa planong impeachment sa mga nakaraan na buwan, ang tanging masasabi ko na lamang sa puntong ito ay God save the Philippines. Bukod dito, nais ko na lang ipaabot ang aking taus-pusong pasasalamat sa mga kababayan na patuloy na nagdarasal, sumusuporta, nagtitiwala, at patuloy na nagmamahal sa akin. Manalig kayo dahil sa taong bayan ang tagumpay. Syukran. I know, right? Braille. 3 questions, no follow-up. Okay.
First question.
Oh.
How are you?
Ayoko na. I'm okay.
You've seen the list of those who signed, ma'am?
Oo.
Marami doon, mga inaanak, mga kumpare, mga nanghiling suporta sa inyo. So,
What's your reaction?
Sabi kasi, ito lang daw basahin ko.
Promise me lang, isa na yun.
So, ma'am, how are you preparing for this?
We've already started preparing the moment Franz Castro announced the impeachment plans, which was November of 2023. So November of 2023, there were already lawyers doing their work for the impeachment. So,
Ma'am?
we leave it to the lawyers.
Ma'am, elaborate po ba?
Resignation is not an option. Resignation is not an option.
Wala pa tayo doon, ma'am. Na masyado pang malayo yung mga ganyan na mga bagay. Nandun pa lang tayo sa pagbabasa ng actually, ma'am, wala pa tayo doon dahil yung mga abogado lang yung nagtatrabaho. Hindi ko talaga alam kung anong ginagawa nila. But I have a meeting with them.
Going back to the president, the president said he has nothing to do with the impeachment. Do you believe it?
I do not want to answer that question. Next.
Ma'am, confirm po ba na si dating Pangulo Rodrigo Duterte ay isa sa mga abogado niyo para sa impeachment case?
I do not want to answer that question. Yes, ma'am.
Nakikita niyo po ba na may hahalin tulad ng sitwasyon ngayon ng bansa sa 1984 ni George Orwell?
I do not want to answer that question. Last.
Na yung mga kaalyado nanghiling suporta, mga inaanak, mga kumpare, kumari, sila yung mga pumirma sa inyo.
Paniwala ko lang, no, if you have to explain or defend your signature in a yes petition for impeachment, then you feel that you have done something wrong. Kasi kung wala ka namang ginawang mali, bakit mo i-defend yung pirma mo?
Ma'am?
So yun yung paniwala ko.
Okay. Ma'am, naniniwala po ba kayo na may gumalaw po for the impeachment? May gumalaw po na parang money involved?
I do not want to answer that question. Yes.
Ma'am, will you be endorsing senators, lalo na po sa PDP slates, especially that may possibility na mag-overlap yung trial sa next Congress?
Hindi pa namin napapag-usapan kung ano yung gagawin ko for the upcoming campaign and election. Pero nasabi ko na noon na patuloy yung trabaho namin. And isa sa mga trabaho namin ay gusto namin tumulong sa Commission on Elections in voter education. Particularly yung wag mo ibenta yung boto mo, wag gumamit ng dahas during campaign and election day, yung mga ganon.
Ma'am, payo niyo lang po sa ating mga kababayan sa nangyayari po ngayon sa ating bansa.
Yes, sabi ko nga kanina sa statement ko sa ating mga kababayan na patuloy na sumusuporta, nagmamahal, nagdarasal, napakahalaga nun, ay manalig lang sila dahil sa taong bayan ang tagumpay.
Viping, anong nag-blooming daw patapos na maya?
Nganong naa ka diri sa Manila na taga Davao man ka? Yes sir.
Ma'am, sabi niyo po late last year parang nagpe-prepare na kayo para dito. Pwede po i-brief na ko naman kung right now po after i-transmit sa Senate, saan na po yung preparation? May legal team na po ba and nasaan na po?
Well, may meeting kami mamayang hapon dahil nag-meeting sila kahapon. Hindi ako sumali. So merong briefing, legal briefing mamaya ang mga lawyers. So I will know more this afternoon.
Can you name some of the prominent members of your
Makikita nyo na yan pagpasok nila ng kanilang entry of appearance.
Ma'am, tuloy po ang trabaho kahit may pinaghahandaan po kayo impeachment.
Yes sir, opo. Kakatapos lang po ng planning conference ng Office of the Vice President. So we did it last Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday para po sa 2025 and 2026.
Ma'am, for 2025, may mga maapektuhan ba na programs ng OVP?
Yes, nag-announce na kami na wala kaming wala kaming burial and medical assistance dahil tinanggal yung line na yon sa budget. So hindi ka na pwede maglagay ng budget doon.
How about the other programs, ma'am?
Tutuloy siya.
How confident are you that you won't be convicted in the impeachment court?
Wala pa tayo. Masyadong pang malayo yan, ma'am. Wala pa tayo. Hindi pa natin ina-assess.
Sa VP part, number 1 for impeachment. Have you talked to...
Nagtanong ka na ba?
Yes.
Kanina? Sige, ikaw.
Ma'am, you said before na you're seriously considering to run for 2028. Now na may impeachment na, are you more decided to run in 2028?
Okay. So wala pa tayo dyan. Wala pa tayo dyan. But nasabi ko naman di ba, paulit-ulit kung we are seriously considering that. But it's difficult to decide without numbers. So kailangan malaman yung surveys and numbers. Sa next year pa yun.
Ma'am, pero ma'am, sa tingin niyo ba?
Sir, nagtanong ka na? Sir, yes, sir.
What are you concerned na yung possible consequence that you can be disqualified from public office kung magkaroon na ng conviction?
Yes, sir. Oo. Alam ko po yung penalties ng impeachment. And the moment na nag-resign ako sa Department of Education, before ako nag-resign sa Department of Education, pinag-isipan ko na lahat yan.